Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Dean. Merry Christmas. It's our final show. Oh, that just ended really quick. Oh, there we go again. Final show before Christmas. We've got a Christmas wish list. We've got some fun things that are going on in the world, and Lock and Cross, of course, joins me again live from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where you guys are going through a bit of a heater. Apparently, climate change is real. It's like 8 degrees out there or something like that today. It's like should be like minus 30. It's like 8. It's beautiful. Sunny, no weather.
I gotta say,
yeah,
like we've had weather where it's like it's warm, or hey, we haven't any snow yet, or do you know what I mean? Like there's always it's warmer than normal, it's wetter than normal. It's wow, that was a lot of snow, but there's never been a pattern of weather that I've lived through like this where I've thought, yeah, we've really messed up. The end of times are near.
Here, yeah.
And this is very as enjoyable as it is.
Yeah,
there is not a day that goes by where I don't go, wow. Like this entire Western Canada is going to be on fire in the summer. So we've had no snow.
I know.
It's been weirdly warm. Yeah. It is like we're in a drought. We're reporting brush fires
in the winter.
When I was on the air last week, there are brush fires causing traffic issues.
Okay. So let me.
It's crazy.
Help me understand this. Help me understand this. Because I'm fairly certain climate change is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Fairly certain.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those people that wants to be accountable for the next generation. There's a large swath of society that does not, right? Where it's like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll be dead by the time that happens. Look, the sun's going to burn out. I'll be dead in like 300 years. No big deal. Oh, whatever. Ozone layer, I'll be dead. Doesn't matter. You still got like 200 years left in the ozone. So everybody like plays with like that extra time that you think you got. Well, we're here, right? So there's one thing. But it's like 12 degrees in Toronto today.
Yeah.
And I'm like, climate change isn't that bad right now. And I understand sea levels and I get all that stuff and don't litter and, the fossil fuels and stuff like that. And I know Canada did this big thing yesterday where they're like, by 2035, you're not allowed to sell a car that isn't electric or electric hybrid. They just did that the other day. But again, it's 12 degrees here today. Yeah. It's 8 degrees in the heart of one of the coldest provinces in Canada. Not a lot of people in this country are going, this is scaring me. No, they're going for walks. They're going outside to ride their bike. They're golfing in different parts of the country.
They opened up a golf course in Calgary.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it's really hard when you're like, oh, it's 8 degrees, climate change. Anthony Farnell, who I do I have favorite weather guys? Yeah, Mark Robinson and Anthony Farnell. I know Mr. Farnell a little bit. He does City TV stuff. Or maybe it's CTV. I can't remember. He does the TV weather here. And Mark Robinson from the Weather Network, who we've had on the show. And they're always, traipsing around, talking to you. They'll do the Doppler radar thing. It's like there's a big heat wave going across Canada, which has never happened to this extent. Nothing this big. We're real warm. Everything's good. And I get that it's climate change. And I get that the alarmists are screaming and freaking out. And I'm a bit of an alarmist myself when it comes to it. But I like 12 degrees in December. You like 8 degrees in January.
Yeah.
We do, right? It's hard to convince people this sucks. That's what my point is.
Yeah, no, it is concerning. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it. Also, by this time, I've probably seen a massage therapist twice because of the amount of snow we've had to shovel and things to that effect. So not having to worry about that. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, you don't have to go to a chiro when it's 8 degrees because you didn't have to put your back out shoveling 4,000 pounds of snow off your little tiny driveway. Yeah. No one's angry about it right now.
No, but we should be concerned. And I think also I've thought a lot about this because we get the odd conversation on the show whenever we sort of dip our toes into the climate change thing. I'm that guy where, listen, I'm not an idiot. I know that we're having an adverse impact on the world that we're living in. How could we? I'm also not an idiot, and I'm aware that this is a pattern and that these things happen and we're on a cycle, and there's warmer winters and colder winters, and there's winters with snow and more snow and less snow. I understand that. And that's just, but if you don't think that this in part has something to do with us, I don't even know where that conversation goes. You can't. You can't have a conversation with that guy.
No, you can't.
No, so you.
But of course it does. Like that's the thing that you.
But you can't have a conversation with the other side of the fence either. When you say, okay, should we not be exploring more than a couple of alternatives to help, counter the impact that it's having? And that's where I get angry about government and about how we're going about actually trying to make a difference. Like, listen, I don't want to open up the carbon tax thing, but by creating a situation where people have less money to make the decisions you need them to make to help the environment it is so counterintuitive.
0.03 cents on a fuel dollar. It just doesn't seem like it's a big deal.
It's not working. All you're doing is
called it a tax. So they don't call it a tax. Like in Canada, every country in the world has a carbon tax now. In Canada, they call it a tax, and they want to increase that tax as opposed to saying, "Hey, why don't we call this the environment?" Yeah, totally. I do. I completely understand. Anytime
I have less money
cost
every month,
they get angry.
Every month, I have less money. I can't now.
It's a priorities conversation.
Yeah, but it's not because you're making it more difficult for the entire population to live. That entire population, if you look at it from 1,000 feet, has less money to spend on more expensive electric cars. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, we are going to
what you're saying, but here's the thing. So let's just hop
give me that money back.
Yeah,
I might make a better decision with it. I might actually.
Have you seen the way we operate? Have you seen the people when you give them free money? What happens? Have you seen that? Have you seen what goes on? People are like, "Hey, we'll give you the money, but can you just put it towards some kind of climate initiative?" They're like, "Oh yeah, no problem." No one's doing that.
All right. Well, then let's just go back to beating our kids. Because if that worked in the past, then why don't we bring that back?
Why beating our kids?
You punish the population. It's like beating your kids. Are you telling me that worked?
It's got nothing to do with kids.
Yes,
of course it does.
It's exactly the
kids
same.
Doesn't work. No, it isn't.
Apples.
Listen, everybody hates a tax. I don't want to pay extra money for stuff that doesn't matter to me. There's a carbon, and we don't see it. I'd rather have that money and put it in my pocket. But in Canada, if you make less than $250,000, and this is the stroke, you actually get more money when you pay the carbon tax because you get a rebate that is actually more than what you paid if you make less than $250,000. It's the big earners that have a bigger carbon footprint that won't see that rebate. So it's like, fuck. Do we really care about the richie riches making $250,000 a year? Not really. If that guy complains about his extra tax, if that guy complains that he made $80 less than he did the year before because we wanted to clean up the environment and we don't want to have brush fires in December and we'd like to live on this planet a little bit longer than we're alive, it seems like it's a pretty good deal. Like, and I don't give a shit about someone that makes $250,000 a year. I really don't.
Yeah, but we're also talking about industry that doesn't get punished properly.
Fuck big business. They should all pay.
They don't get
all of them.
They don't get it.
I know.
We get hooped. And then the disintegration of the middle class continues, right? Totally. And then I can't afford to put solar panels on my roof. I can't afford to buy an electric car. I continue to live the same way I have for 25, 30 plus years.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Which of your 4 houses do you want to put solar panels on?
I'm trying to create an environment where I will hopefully be able to retire someday, Dean.
I get it. It's tougher for you because the carbon tax means now I've got 4 employment homes that I need to be able to put solar panels on. I have 4 revenue income properties that I need to service.
Do you want to have a quick little peek at Locke's bank account? Just see how far leveraged he is? Like, it's embarrassing how much money they gave me to buy homes.
I know.
It's embarrassing. And they just sent me a letter saying if I wanted an increase on my line of credit.
Of course. Did you say yes? Of course
I'm going to. Because I'm going to buy a gas burning car.
Hey, here's a question. Are you done? Are you like me? I'm going to buy a gas burning car. You're not allowed to in 2235, so you better get one fucking right now.
Got to get rid of the Subaru.
Are you done? This is, again, another pedestrian conversation, but are you done your Christmas shopping? Have you?
No, I'm going out. today with the
today is your
daughter.
big day. Are you going to the world's largest mall, West Edmonton Mall, to do your shopping?
I avoid that mall.
Okay.
I have nothing against that mall, like who's in it and who goes to it. The problem is I spent 16 months working in that mall, and it was the most miserable 16 months of my life. It almost killed me. So when I go back to that mall,
You get PTSD.
I have that same feeling.
Yeah.
So I avoid that mall if I can. That's me personally. And I go to other mall. I don't have the same feeling when I go to South Common. So we might go there. If I go to the West Edmonton Mall, which I affectionately referred to as the big stupid mall, I have this feeling of dread, and I want to go and hunt down the people that I used to work with.
I get it. I don't even know how it's the world's biggest mall in that city. I don't even know how many people go to that mall. It's like a tourist attraction more than a mall.
Dude, it's packed all the time.
Which is unbelievable to me.
The new trend, too, have you heard this, is that, I don't know why, but
I don't know, maybe I have.
We've had, I think, 2 or 3 guns incidences in the mall. I guess the gangsters, why wouldn't you be a gangster in Edmonton? The whitest city in the country. Of course, that makes sense to me. Let's all go dress up like Eminem and go to the mall and pack heat in our waistbands of our, like.
I didn't know that. You've had a bunch of shootings there this year or recently? Like in the last couple of months?
There was a shooting in the parking lot, and then they shut down a wing of the mall. And that's happened. I know people who were in the mall in the last year during like shutdowns. And it happened recently within the last couple of weeks. They had and it's gang stuff. They're fighting over who knows, whatever. So
drug turf. They're fighting over who gets to sell cocaine on the corner of this and that. White Mud and 15th. Is that what they're doing?
I don't know what it is. Anyway,
so there's a big coke war.
There's a little bit of that happening right now, and not that that's going to keep people away from the mall, but that's been an interesting sort of development. I'm like, when did we get to a point where there was like gun situations at the mall?
Oh, there's
like I said that to Grant. I said this happened like 2 or 3 times this year. Why is this a thing now?
Because people are pussies. Anybody that takes a gun into a crowd is a fucking pussy. That's why your city's just full of pussies. I guarantee you, none of those people are vaccinated.
Can we talk a little bit about Trump? Are you watching the Colorado stuff?
Yeah. Just to recap, Donald Trump was removed from the presidential ballot in Colorado 2 days ago, and he's losing his fucking mind as his MapleMaga, which is another thing I don't quite understand. MapleMaga, how a Canadian could be like, Donald Trump's my guy. Watching him go through it, like those are the dumbest of the dumb. We've got dumb people here, and they are the dumbest of the dumb. It's like the polar extreme of stupidity is a MapleMaga person who's like, make America great again from Black Labish. Like, let's make America great again from fucking Kenora. Okay, dummy. Anyway, so he was taken off the ballot in Colorado Supreme Court. It's going to them. He's appealing, but that means very bad things for him because they're saying, hey, if you got nabbed for inciting an insurrection, which he did, which we all know about, which is being played out with Jack Smith, the special prosecutor or whatever the fuck they call him there. He's in trouble. He's been indicted 91 times. It's been proven he helped start, plan, and facilitate an insurrection of the United States government that almost turned into a coup. It almost worked. So in Colorado, he was pulled off the ballot. What a Christmas present for every person with morals that actually understands.
I don't know about that, though. I think this is working out in his favor, isn't it?
According to some polls, some people think, but it's the messaging that he tags onto, right? Where it's like, they're trying to prevent me from being your president. Meanwhile, a couple of days ago, he's in Iowa. He's talking about poisoning the blood of America with immigrants. Fascist Hitler talking points. He talked about how he's going to be a dictator on day one. Again, Hitler talking points. He literally repeated lines from Mein Kampf, which was Hitler's book. And then, which is, if you haven't read it, I have, because I'm like, I got to see what's in this book. It's just all about how much you should hate the Jews and you should, white people and Aryans are the best, and poisoning the blood of his beautiful Deutschland and with immigrants and Jewishness and Hebrew, like literally. So Trump starts repeating this, and his people are saying, hey, listen, those talking points work in Canada and in the United States, right? And so it's a home run. I'm watching Jake Tapper online today, and Jake Tapper's like, we just did a poll, these fascist talking points that are right out of Mein Kampf, by the way. 52% of the people that like Donald Trump support those talking points. So half of the people that support him support the like extreme jump into fascism, Nazism, authoritarianism, that dictator
What's
that we
going
knew
on?
Hitler was, that kind of stuff. Dude, and this is the thing. If he doesn't get taken off of other ballots, racist, fascist America, which elected him in 2016, is going to suddenly appear again and go, hey, listen, we don't need to run for cover. This is what we want. What's going on is that country has a large portion of it, like at least half, that want an authoritarian government, that want a theocratic authoritarian regime to bust some skulls. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. So to your point, it's been this nightmare because he gets a bounce in the polls because he's convincing people as he's being dragged on the carpet for legitimately inciting, starting, and planning an insurrection of the United States government. He's telling people that it's all a lie. They just don't want to run against him. And so, Alpha America, Christian America is like, yeah, that's our guy because God sent him to us. And so he can't be lying. And they're literally rallying around him. So his poll numbers are going up. How fucked is that?
I find it fascinating. And I've kind of been going back and forth with this whole thing because I will be honest, there is a certain amount of entertainment value to Trump getting in. And again, you'll hear people say this, and I don't want people to think that I support the man. By no stretch of the imagination do I support him. But you can't deny that our lives are kind of a little more entertaining with him in the picture.
Totally.
It is. It just from the perspective of what we do, Dean, what you and I do, what I've done now my whole life, having a complete jackass like Donald Trump in power in the United States of America it's an endless well of content, right? But I gotta say, kind of like the weather, right? Like, hey, I'm enjoying the weather right now. It's only 4 degrees today, and I don't have to shovel. But does this mean that the entire province is going to be on fire in the summer? Might be. Little worried. Same thing with Trump. As entertaining as this is, there's also this, it speaks to a state of the world that we're in that I try to deny. We can't be that far down the rabbit hole. Like, how do you support that? How do you openly? Would you walk around?
No, I'll tell you
would
how
you walk
you do
around
it.
with his hat on? Like,
of course not. Of course not, dude. Viktor Orban was wearing one of his hats yesterday. He's the president of Hungary, and he is like part of this community called the IDU, International Democratic Union, started by Stephen Harper. And Stephen Harper tweets the other day, we need closer ties with Viktor Orban and the IDU. This is the same dude that hates gay people, hates Muslims, talked about how he wanted to have a Holocaust of Muslims in his own country, said gay people are an aberration. Same thing. A big fan of Putin. So he's the guy that's trying to prevent all the aid from flooding into Ukraine. He's Putin's dude in the middle of Europe going, let's run interference for Putin. So anyway, he's wearing a Trump hat. He's wearing a MAGA hat. And I'm like, that is just obviously the calling card of every dumb fuck on the planet, or every person that wants to steal from you or murder you or be a dictator, right? So it's not just a movement. It's literally the sharing of fascist values. Fascism itself now is a fad. It's a thing. People are like, yeah, fuck the world, because that means I don't have to think. We can just by brute force kick the shit out of people who don't agree with us. That's what fascism is. And so generally speaking, you've got half of our country, I would say maybe a little less than half, that are so enamored by the MapleMaga group, so enamored by the leader of MapleMaga, who's just skinny Trump light, Pierre Trudeau, who isn't as dementia-y as Donald.
I don't think it's half.
Oh, dude,
we're more segmented than that. No,
dude,
you're wrong.
He is leading in every national poll by double digits. Like,
it's
legit.
Not half. It's not half.
According to every single poll, It's more than half. So,
I think when
like,
push comes to shove,
you said
if
it earlier,
we
you can deny
force
it, dude. You can deny it. You can deny that this is going on. But and it in its simplest form, the way to explain it is we don't all share the same values in this country. There is a rising appreciation for authoritarianism through MapleMaga conservatism in this country. There's a rising appreciation for it because you know what they do better than anybody else? They tell you they're just as sick of the bullshit and they'll clean it up, and they're going to do it with guns, and they're going to do it with cops, and they're going to do it with camps, and they're going to do it with jail, and they're going to put everybody who you don't want to look at in prison. That is what this movement about. And dude, it is borderless. We talked about it last week. This isn't just happening in Canada. It's not just happening in the United States. There is a movement of people that share those values that are global, that are absolutely global, and they are all.
I don't disagree with you.
I
can't get to the half thing. Yeah, in the States, I can understand how. I think it's when you break it down, it's an issue with choice.
Yeah,
and we have the same problem in Canada, right? I either put that same dill hole back in power, or I roll the dice and we take a chance on old PP, right? And I don't really have a really good alternative. And then the guilt I have if I vote for somebody that's not in the two-party system, because we have a two-party system in Canada, whether we want to admit it or not. We have the left, we have the right, we have liberals, we have conservatives.
Yep.
We don't really have anybody else that takes a bite out of the numbers or stands a chance of winning. So you kind of have this guilt when you go and you mark your ballot. I don't think that necessarily means that 50% of the population completely 100% agrees with everything that one side or the other agrees with. So
they
in
lean that way to vote for that ideology at the moment. That is what I'm saying. Half the country, half the people.
I will accept that, but I can't believe that the rhetoric that's coming out of even in the States. And I think a big part of what's happening in the United States of America is I think I think this is part of the reason why Trump is actually doing okay in the polls right now. I think there is a manipulation, not just of from outside forces, but from inside forces in Canada, in the United States. And I think that's part of the reason why we have so many conspiracy theories, and it's so hard to get people to think rationally about this stuff. Because I think they're down. Dean, I think down in the States right now, they are legitimately trying to scare people so that they get out and vote so that Trump doesn't get in again. And that's a strategy.
You think that's happening here?
I think, yeah. If I didn't know better, I think you were being paid to do it.
No, I'm telling you, it's real.
I think it totally happens here.
Real.
I think people are legitimately think that they know better than everybody else.
Oh, yeah,
and that there's actually people behind. I believe this. There's actually people behind the scenes that manipulate information and do their best to try to control. And I think it's happening inside our own countries. We talk about outside influence. I think it happens inside. And I think it's happening to a massive extent in the United States, not so much in Canada, but I think that's part of the reason why people are so angry, because they've been duped by both sides for so long. They're willing to light it on fire. Do they want an authoritarian leader? Do they want Trump to take over?
A large portion of that society does. Yes.
I don't necessarily believe it. I think
they're like, you know what? As long as we give him the reins, he'll just batter his way through doing what we want because we align with him, and fuck everybody else. Legitimately. And then
I can't go to bed tonight thinking that 50% of the population agrees with everything that comes out of that.
50% of the population in this country would vote for that man's ideologies. And they're shared by the Conservative Party of Canada here. A brief note, though. In case you were wondering.
I do think you're wrong, and I think I need you to be okay with you being wrong today.
I'm always okay being wrong, because if I can be right, that's awesome. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not. And you can't prove me otherwise because every single poll says that. Listen, here's something that happened today.
It's also subjective.
Actually, it isn't. Actually, there's data that backs that up. And you haven't been able to provide it. I have. So I'm right and you're wrong. And you need to come to grips with the fact that this country is deeply divided by two different ideologies.
What? I am going to listen. If we were in the same room, I'd be slapping you right now. I've been saying that to you now.
I don't remember any
for
of that.
a long time.
I don't remember that. I don't remember any of those times she said that.
Thanks for getting on my
Not
boat.
one.
Now I'm
You're
trying
welcome.
to talk you off the boat.
Okay. So here's the deal.
All right.
A couple of days ago, Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, former America's mayor.
What happened to America's mayor?
What happened to America's mayor who lost his fucking mind over the past 4 years supporting this orange shithead? So he gets sued by the Freeman, the Ruby Freeman and her daughter, 2 election workers in Georgia. You remember that? Yeah, she
awesome.
gets sued. And then he gets labeled with a judgment of $158 million. He walks right out of the court and he's like, fuck the world. I'd do it again. By the way, those women are all lying. He gets hit with another lawsuit yesterday by the same women for the same amount.
Good for them.
Same thing. So
Good
they're
for
now
them.
into him for $300 million.
I love it.
306. And the judge gave him instant judgment saying you got to pay them now. So we put that tweet out. So 2 parts to this story, which I love, is I woke up this morning and I'm like, Rudy Giuliani just got sued again by the same women for lying again the second he walked out of court. Let's go look at that news. I look at his name. On Twitter, I search his name and his name comes up and I click on his name on Twitter and his bio. I did not know this until this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been blocked by Rudy Giuliani. He blocked me. I have no idea when, no idea why, but this says one of 2 things to me because Rudy Giuliani is doing nothing but selling fake brain supplements looking to make money. So he's obviously got someone managing his Twitter account or him, but someone, either him or in his camp, has seen us mocking the fuck out of the fact that he's 160 million lighter and that he's going to go to jail with Donald Trump over the insurrection of the United States of America. And he got negatively affected by it. This is what I love because I put myself in his shoes. Got negatively affected by my tweet and the response to that tweet, which garnered millions and millions of impressions. And he blocked me. He blocked me. Rudy Giuliani blocked me. America's mayor. What happened to America's mayor? He just blocked me on Twitter.
The thing that's frustrating me
I love
is that we live in this just absolute maddening world where it, like, that guy is insane. Like, there's just so many things that are happening right now that are
what else he did? You know what else happened to him today?
Just don't make any sense.
And this is breaking news.
How can you be that dumb? Like, how can you be that?
Dude,
he's a lawyer. Like,
there are millions of people that believe that dummy, and he is that dumb. And there are tens of millions of people in the United States who think he's right. He just got fucking taken to the cleaners by 2 election workers for willingly lying, being proven he's a liar.
You know what I will say,
about everything to do with anything to do with Donald Trump in the election. And now, as a result, not only did he block me, which is, smart because I was coming for him. He filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy today. This just happened 8 minutes ago. He filed for bankruptcy. Rudy Giuliani, who at one point was worth, $100 million, has literally just filed for bankruptcy because his lies, his bullshit for Donald Trump caught up with him. And this is 2 weeks after every major news outlet reported that he went to Mar-a-Lago and begged Trump for financial help for his legal fees and didn't get it. So his lawyers sued him. Then he goes to court in Georgia, loses $158 million because he lied.
So now Donald Trump. He's suing Donald Trump for legal costs.
I don't know if he's suing Donald Trump for legal costs. I have no idea. All I know is his life is over at 80. His life is over. He's going to have to sell absolutely everything he has. That's what Chapter 11 bankruptcy says. Great. We'll give you creditor protection. Now you got to liquidate everything you have and you got to give it to as many people as possible to settle whatever debt you might have. He is now broke, more than broke. As a matter of fact, if you take what he owes his lawyers, which is in the neighborhood of, I think, $12 million, And if what he owes these women, I think he is minus $170 million total at 80, when he should be on the beach. He should be golfing. He should be on old person Tinder. He should be watching The Golden Bachelor. He should be at home eating tapioca, washing his teeth with a toothbrush, and then putting them in a cup at the end of the night. He should be heading to shuffleboard evening at the seniors' home. That's what he should be doing. He is done. He's done because he had something to do with that cat. I fucking love consequences. Love them. Love them. The problem that we have, guys like you and me, is we grew up knowing that if you did that stuff, you got consequenced. Well, this has been going on for 6 or 7 or 8 years, right? So we're sitting here going, yeah, we don't understand what's going on. Why is the world so divided? Well, it takes time. Sometimes the wheels of justice turn a little slower than normal. But this should be a warning to everybody and anybody that works with or repeats the lies of any MAGA anything. Any MapleMaga anything, because you're lied to just like he lied to you, just like every single person in that movement pretends they're somebody that they're not and tells you they can fix shit they can't. It's all a lie. It is all a lie, and it's all performative. And that man is fucking done, and I love it. Schadenfreude. I live for it, Lachlan. Live for
the
it.
interesting thing, though, is, and you can kind of see. I've been watching a lot of the coverage, especially since this Colorado thing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how it works, because I know that there's been other states that have tried to do what Colorado did. It didn't get voted through. Colorado could lead to more. Like, I don't understand the implication. Can he still run? Like, there's all these question marks. I'm trying to piece it all together. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, like, it's so crazy. And take Rudy Giuliani out of it, because there's always sort of been this in the Donald Trump wake. This isn't new, Dean. Mm-hmm. This isn't a new development. When he plows his way through life, he has this shrapnel, and lawyers and people that do work for him don't get paid. Like, he just continues to just screw people. Right.
Yeah, anybody associated with him has been fucked. His lawyer, Jenna Ellis, has been disbarred. She's been charged. She's been convicted. She's now a character witness in the J6 trial. Kenneth Cheesebro, same thing, disbarred, discharged.
This doesn't seem to have an impact on Donald Trump.
Well, it's because he has no choice but to go this way, right? Like, he has fucked and put himself in the corner. And that corner is the fascist corner. That corner is like, hey, you're going to go to jail. You're going to go to jail for a long time. You might even get hung or shot in front of a fucking firing squad for what you did. That's what they would do back in the Civil War days, right? And these were Civil War articles of impeachment that he was brought up on in Colorado. Those are Civil War regulations. You take part in an insurrection, you give aid or comfort to the enemy in any regard, you are ineligible for office if you get caught. Ineligible. That's what happened. That's what happened. And it's going to happen in other states too.
There are constitutional legal experts, though, that believe that what Colorado did shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
based on this,
I would question their intention according to the letter of the law by every single person that actually appreciates the law. He shouldn't be running.
Honestly, Dean, I think these a handful of the people that I've heard that spoke out against this are saying that legally what Colorado did won't stand up to the next level of the Supreme Court. So, I mean, like, we're getting into the minutia of this, and I don't understand enough of it. And again, I'm not going to sit down and read the Constitution of the United States of America to get a better understanding of it.
A hell of a read. There's two things everybody should read: the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the United States Constitution, and then you can start talking about what
I'm not
you think
going
is
to.
going on.
That is never going to happen. But thanks for the advice today. I'll write that down.
You're welcome. Well, everybody's a constitutional or charter expert, right?
I'll just stop watching Mad Men and I'll read that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So anyway, the thing that I'm amazed at is he just keeps going.
Yeah.
And going. and going.
That's part of the reason I think that part of America likes him, though. But dude, I think that's part of the reason why people in the United States love the dude, right?
And now we're at a point where people are actually, like, you can see the concern on these reporters' faces.
They're like,
this asshole's gonna win. You can see it, and I shouldn't laugh. Like, when you're like, I like Jake Tapper. Like, I do. I appreciate him because you get the sense that he kind of says what's on his mind. So he'll say, and he'll like get little quibs in, little sarcastic, little jabs in.
Yeah.
And he does it all the time. But you can see the look of fear on his face when he's talking about this.
Oh, like, dude, listen, I'm just as petrified.
Insane.
It is. I'm just as petrified for Canada for the very same reason, right? Is that we see that swath of people on the right that don't give a fuck about anybody other than themselves, but it's a large group of people who only give a fuck about themselves, and they're all like, yeah, we're all me first, and we're all authoritarian, and we all appreciate Russian talking points. Like, dude, for the past week and a half, Donald Trump's been going, President Xi from China, he's a great guy. I don't know why everybody likes him. Why does everybody hate him? That little guy in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I really like him. There's at a rally the other day where he read something from the Russian state media where they were talking about how Joe Biden and a Joe Biden presidency just continues to prove the rottenness of U.S. democracy, and they want Donald Trump to become the president again. Trump read that at his fucking rally, and people cheered.
It's insane.
Dude, we have
Dean,
it
it's
here.
insane.
Let me draw a straight line for you, okay? Donald Trump also talked about stopping pouring weapons into Ukraine for Ukraine. Said they should just break up Ukraine, give part of it to Russia, and give Ukraine part of Ukraine. You and I both are not of that ilk. We both understand the Ukrainian people, like the Canadian people, enjoy our freedom, enjoy our country, not willing to give any part of it up to anybody who wants to come in with guns, murder, rape, steal our children, that kind of stuff. So Donald Trump, no surprise, doing the old, Zelensky's a crook. Putin's great. I love him. Yeah, we should get out of Ukraine. And everybody's like, yay, it's rally. Fuck, Pierre Poilievre said the same thing in the House of Commons the other day. Leader of the Conservative Party, MapleMaga. He stood up and he was like, it's a faraway land. The prime minister isn't telling falsehoods about what's going on over there. We shouldn't be there. We need to stop sending aid to Ukraine. This was 3 days after Trump said the exact same shit. So if you're not concerned for this country like you are concerned for that country, you're not paying attention, bro. You're just not.
No. I didn't say I wasn't concerned.
I'm not saying you and like the royal the rest of us.
I'm saying that I can't go to bed tonight thinking that 50% of our country agrees with that.
They do.
I can't go to bed tonight thinking that.
Let me find the latest poll.
I don't want you to. Please stop.
No, I'm gonna find it. Coletto, David Coletto. He's from Abacus.
Again, I think this boils down to, and I've said it now, I think that this country needs to get comfortable with the idea that there's going to be a shift in government, because we're done with the government that we have right now. And
but be careful what you ask for, because you know what you're going to get.
We've been doing this for 3 years now, and I get that, and I've even said that. I said it when we did the same thing in Alberta provincially. Mm-hmm. I said, listen, I'm not a Nutley fan. And the fact that she's going to get replaced here, I think, is a good thing. But be careful what you wish for. We're going to get Kenny, and Kenny is going to do some there's going to be some weirdness. We're at a point in politics right now, for whatever reason. And again, I've had people that know more about politics than I do try to explain to me why we have two extreme versions of, our options are an extreme version of one side or the other. And it just drives me insane, because I think I need, and this is back to the poll. You can show me the poll, but I think there's this highly angst. Like, I think I represent that middle. I think you represent that middle. And I think it's a larger portion of the country than we give it credit for. When they do a poll, they say, okay, if you had to vote today, where are you going? It doesn't mean that
half
we're
the country
all
would vote for
right-wing
Pierre
nuts.
Poilievre.
50%.
No, but I'm not saying half of our right-wing nuts. I'm saying half would vote for the guy that represents the right-wing nuts. That's what I'm saying.
And I understand that based on pure hatred for the left.
Yeah, well, they're fucking idiots if they're going to vote according to hatred, and they hate because they've been told to hate. David Coletto, Abacus Data Chief. There you go. 41% based on vote. 41% would vote for the Fascist Party of Canada. Yeah. So there you go.
Hold on, put that back up again.
41% of the vote right now. Because if we did it today, if we had a vote today, 41% of this country. And then 26% would vote for the Liberal
The rough
Party.
part about it, though, Dean, is we're also a lot of times what ends up happening, and we get ourselves into trouble in this country because you're pointing out some of the things that we need to be concerned about, right?
Yes.
And I from the right, like,
did you
anybody
see
that's
those
been
numbers
following
though?
you?
That's half.
I've seen your posts lately, and you're waving up. You're waving a flag saying we need to be, cautious about this guy, and rightfully so. I'm not suggesting you're wrong, but I think a lot of times what ends up happening is people vote depending on what is closest to them, right? What concerns them the most. And I think
self-interest. People vote according to self-interest.
Yes, and I don't think they sit and they think it out, and the long-term implications of voting for one party or the other aren't necessarily taken into consideration. I will say this. The talking points from the right, whether you like them or not, have been very focused on the cost of living and the fact that the liberals will continue to spend like drunken whores. And that's a big problem in our country right now, is everyone sees the power of our paycheck dwindling month to month. So they're going to put the blinders on and see past some of the rhetoric from the right.
Authoritarian regime rhetoric.
Again, I'm telling you now,
Dean, is my whole problem, dude. And here's the issue. We're so fucking stupid in this country. Anybody that thinks like that is a fucking moron, shouldn't be allowed to vote. And let me explain why. Because we're stuck in a two-party system with people who refuse to do anything about it. You refuse to come up with a new idea. You refuse to come up, all of us. We refuse to come up with a new party. We refuse to recruit people. We just accept the fact that we've got two businesses known as the Conservative Party of Canada and the Liberal Party of Canada that want access to your money for their fucking friends. Okay.
And we should be mad.
And
we should be mad about these things.
Hang on. Here's the problem. And this is the problem. The problem is we're not. The problem is we sit here and argue with each other over who's better when we don't like either of them anyway. Right? We just go, well, that means I won't have to have a carbon tax. Well, half those people, I would say actually 80% of those people that go, that means we don't have to have a carbon tax. They don't even fucking know what a carbon tax is or how it works. They just hear the word tax.
Doesn't matter.
Go, yeah, I hate it. And then some fucking fascist is like, you're right, you're taxed too much. Well, what does fascism do? It takes from you and gives to the state. And who is the state in a fascist organization? The individuals, the cult personality people. That's what fascism is all about, is giving power to very few people that control most of the shit. And so if you're sitting there saying to yourself, well, it's not that big of a deal today, fuck you. It's a massive deal. This is like DEFCON fucking 50.
I don't disagree
if you're not
with
paying
you.
attention, and if you don't ask this country and the people in this country to rally around a new party, new idea, you're just going to continue to fucking want to murder each other on a weekly basis online. You're going to continue to spread misinformation, disinformation online. Do you remember, as much as I fucking love the Reform Party, and I'm really sad that Preston Manning's dead, the Reform Party decided at one point, you know what? We need a new party that represents the West, right?
Thank you for jumping on that narrative with us.
Yeah, I'm sorry. R.I.P. Preston. So they start this new party. It fucking sweeps the West. First principles, new party, reform, full of religious psychos, but they proved a fucking point. And that point was, we need first principles. We can't. And you know what ended up happening with those first principles? They got soaked up into that first of the two parties that continues to be a two-party system. And boom, there's the two-party system again. We are literally in fucking political jail in this country.
Yes.
And we sit here and eat it. and we argue over which prison gruel is best for each other, ourselves, and you.
You
and
nailed
we're like,
it.
No, you got to eat this fucking prison gruel. It tastes delicious. It tastes awful. This is the worst prison gruel I've ever had. Our minds are being rotted by two-party prison gruel, and we sit here and eat it. We sit here and go, yeah, no big deal. You and I sit here and we try to parse through which guy's better, which team's worse, who we're going to throw our support behind. That is fucking ridiculous. That is not a democracy. We're legitimately jailed by two parties,
both
two
sides.
parties that refuse to allow any other type of thinking, any other type of ideology. And the second they get a sniff that you might take part of their turf, they will come in and destroy you. They will sue you. They will fucking have operatives show up to your events. They will fucking try and prevent you from doing anything. They'll lie to you because both of those parties are not run by the politicians. They're run by the interests and the businesses that line up behind the ideologies of those parties. So ask for better for fucking once. Sorry, Locke. I don't mean to.
No. I'm glad we sort of reached the point where I wanted us to get to, because I think you just nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And again, this is part of the frustration of these conversations that I've had in the last year or so. Like I'll take it to an even more sensitive side of things with the Israeli war. Just because I am upset about innocent people dying and would welcome a ceasefire in that conflict right now doesn't mean I'm not aware of the fact that Hamas started the whole thing and killed and just did horrific things on October 7th, right? And that they started it. So, but you can't, a lot of these conversations, you can't side one way or the other without one side jumping down your throat about your opinion. I would like the bombing to stop because there's innocent people that are dying and kids are dying.
Well, then you're anti-Semitic.
No, I'm not.
I know you're not.
That's what I'm saying.
You are. Yeah. I get it.
I also think that they should find a way to eliminate Hamas. I just don't know if this is actually helping. This might actually be helping Hamas more than it is, in the end, getting rid of them. It might be actually solidifying their presence in the Middle East for another 50 fucking years.
Wouldn't it be better if just a massive volcano in the region went off?
Well, I'll say that about Trump and Biden, right? You take a look at that two-party system down in the States, and I kind of agree with Bill Burr. Like, he's like,
maybe they both died before.
Wouldn't it be great if there was somebody that was younger,
right,
that was actually making decisions that really impacted, like a 40-year-old. He's like a 45-year-old guy where the things that he's doing now are actually going to have an impact on the life that he's living.
Yeah.
Not these tools. And he said it. He said, I'd like to see both of them die before the next election.
This sounds really terrible. But did you ever see that movie Alive where that plane of soccer players crashes into the Andes? Yeah. And you're like, the whole soccer team's gone. Or the movie We Are Marshall. Remember that? Maybe put all of our political parties on some questionable aircraft. I mean,
I don't know if we can say that.
I just did.
But I'm telling you right now, you've got the crux of the situation. And I've said this out loud. And I think it starts individually, right? Instead of having a fight with somebody about liberals versus the conservatives, what people should be doing is they should be putting their energy towards finding alternatives or trying to talk people into actually running that might provide an alternative. And I said it out loud multiple times on my radio program about the local politics here. We've got a situation not unlike every other municipality.
Please don't talk about bike lanes again today.
No, I'm not going to talk about bike lanes. Okay,
thank you.
But you have a very small portion of the population that votes. Right? What is it? It's like between 10 and 30% actually vote, and 30 would be really high. You're looking at probably 15% of the population actually going to the polls civically to elect these guys that run our cities. And then when they make decisions, we all go, what the you got to be kidding me. You did what? You spent that money? But the problem is those municipalities are actually catering to that group of people that votes. So I've said out loud, if you are an alternative, if you think differently than what we have right now and you want to run, I will help promote you on my radio show. Because just going on the radio show and going, all the people there are idiots and they need to be removed doesn't help, because we don't have any options. So you got to vote, and you got to step up if you're the type of leader, either municipal, provincial, or federal. You have to step up and you have to start making noise if you think you're going to be an alternative to what we already have. And that's where we need to focus our energy on. Finding alternatives.
I'll tell you a story. First of all, really nice thought. Won't work. I'll tell you a story and I'll tell you why. About 3 to 4 months ago, I got a phone call from somebody, and I won't tell you which party, just a friend of mine that works for a certain political party. And he's like, we'd like to talk to you about possibly joining the party. And I'm like, yeah, that's never happening. No, we're being serious. Would you be available for a phone call tomorrow? And I'm like, okay, I never told you about this because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that they came to me because they only go to people that don't have jobs. They can't cut it in the real world. And I'm like, my God, do they think I'm unemployed?
Well, you kind of are. You work out of your house.
Yeah. I have an office too. I just don't go there very much.
You got like 9 kids living at your place. Like,
so that, yeah.
It's a halfway house.
Sure, yeah, that's right. It's a drop-in center. So the guy's like, yeah, tomorrow, 1 o'clock. I'd love to talk to you about it. I go, all right, I'll talk to you. So 3 people get on this phone call outside of me. So there's 4 on this phone call. How you doing? Pleasantries? Yep. Love what you're doing. Yep. Thanks very much. You're really aggressive. Yep. Listen, would you consider helping us with a couple of different things we wanted to ask you about? Would you consider helping us with some digital marketing? I'm like, maybe. Because it's government money, right? You're like, yeah, maybe. And have you ever given thought to running for office? And I'm like, are you joking? And this person's like, no, you share similar values to us. And I'm like, I do. And they're like, yeah. What are your thoughts? And I was quiet for a bit and I took a big breath and I go, listen, I said, our company can help you maybe come up with some narrative stuff. If you're interested in that, I'm happy to put you on to the guy that does that. You can talk to him about rates. You can talk to him about, brand exercises, the kind of stuff that you need. But I would rather legitimately give myself a colonoscopy in front of an auditorium full of people that I don't know than get into politics, than do what you guys do. And they're like, why? It's a great job. And I'm like, it is not a great job. And they challenged me again on it. And I said, okay, here are my thoughts. My thoughts are this. You are a lawyer. We're a lawyer. You worked for a big box store. You, who knows what you did. You guys got to the end of the line. Someone came to you and had this conversation. And you're like, why not give it a go? Why not? Because the perks are incredible. And all I have to do is repeat company messaging on behalf of the party. I just got to repeat ideologies and I got to stay in line with what the party wants. And then you got to go to daily meetings. And then you got to get into, you get a nice office and you get all this other stuff. But you're really not in it for any of the work, right? You're not in it to make people's lives better. You're in it to drive a message because you haven't said a word to me in the last 20 minutes about what your party wants to do and why you want me to run. You've just gauged my interest and told me what skills I have that you could use and that you'll be able to help me get a better job. Is that correct? They're like, well, not really. We just didn't get to the other stuff yet. I go, no, because you should have gotten to that other stuff first. If you're in it for the reasons you say you're in it, so I already know you're not. So I am absolutely uninterested.
So they sell the job before they sell what the benefit is to
the Canadians that you're supposed to be fucking serving with one of the most important jobs you can have in this country.
Yes. We lost the plot.
100%. And so my
politics has become business.
I'll tell you, it's not the Conservative Party, obviously. And so I thought to myself that day, I got off the phone. I was grossed out. I was so grossed out. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Is this a phone call that Marcy Ian gets or any other broadcaster that's past their prime that gets sucked into politics to go and do the bidding to be a conduit on behalf of whatever ideology and political party they want, so that the guys behind that political party can take that tax money and give it to their friends for road work and legal work and fucking apps and all the other shit. It is exactly what you think it is. It is exactly what you think it is. And this isn't the first time I've been asked to run. It's not the first. It's happened several times. Previous, when I was at the Edge, I was asked to run for the Conservative Party in Ontario. And I'm like, I got a job that pays me way more than that. And I only have to work 3 hours a day and I get to drink coffee and talk about my wiener. So the answer is no, I'm not going to run for office because I've got the greatest job in the world. And that's literally what they did. They did the exact same. We could really use a guy like you. You're a battering ram. You can go out there and you can feed it to these guys and that guys, and you share our values. So all you'd have to do is, come alongside and repeat all the things. That's it. That's all politics is. And somehow we give these guys this incredible mantle and they run around becoming superstars like Pierre Poilievre, newsmaker of the year in Canada. Fascist fucking leaning asshole with religious zealotry that talks about old stock Canadian values, white people, giving white people their first place in line. That's where you should be. And fuck the environment, fuck family values, fuck the trans community. Half the country's behind them. And I don't know if they and dude, you can guarantee that when they go and look for people like me for that party, they're like, you're a hateful piece of shit. Why don't you come with us? And they're like, I got nothing else going on because I'm a hateful piece of shit. It's what I do. And on the liberal side, they're like, hey, can you go find somebody that can combat that properly? Well, the only people that are going to combat that properly are people that are going to get into the mud and do that job, right? Like guys like me. But I don't share any of those values either. So the whole idea that we're going to individual ourselves out of this, there isn't a person that's worth their salt that looks at politics and goes, that sounds like a great time. I could make a lot of money. I could have a better life. No one wants those jobs. So we get the worst people in the world into that job. Oh, for sure
there is an individual commitment to this,
but
and maybe
fit into that system. It doesn't fit into that system because they don't want individuals to make a difference.
But Dean, that's why we're at where we're at. You've got a large chunk of the population. And again, I think it's more than just I'm siding with everything the PP says, and I agree with them. They're mad about where we're at because of where we're at. And so
because of where we're all at?
Yeah, because they're mad at the system. So they're willing to blow it up. They're willing to blow it up.
But everyone's mad at the system. And the people that want to blow, because if you understand the issue that we have today, what is the fix?
The fix is trying to find alternatives.
We need a new political party is what we need. We need a couple of them.
But we need to go out of our way to find that, do the research, find the guys that have stepped up that might actually represent the middle of this country and support it.
People that represent facts, people that don't stand for lies, people who employ the rule of law.
That will get up and say honestly what they think and not just tout a party line or spout stuff from a playbook, which is obvious to me. But again, the liberals are doing it as well. The liberals have a playbook. Biden has a playbook. The Democrats have a playbook. They're trying to combat what's happening in the States with the rise of Trump again.
Of course, it's all politics. It's all politics, and
it drives people crazy, Dean, and it separates us all.
I know, but I'm here for it. I love the content.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Can't tell.
Hey, dude, last podcast of the year.
Let's do the Christmas list quickly.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. You want to do your Christmas wish list. What's
on your Christmas wish list? Dude, I got the greatest present in the world when Rudy Giuliani blocked me yesterday. That's all I wanted. I want Pierre Poilievre to get lost in the woods and never be found. That would be nice. I would like radio to come into the 21st century and start doing digital first broadcasts. That'd be nice. I'd like the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup this year. Not too much to ask. That would also be nice. I would like them to play the Oilers in the Stanley Cup final. Again, not a lot to ask. You guys are on the heater since you dumped that guy with the weird last name. Woodcock.
We lost 3 in a row.
Oh,
we get the Devils tonight.
All right.
Well, actually, I don't know when this is running, so it might not be the Devils tonight.
You got the Devils last night. That's what you got. That's it. I want my kids to stay home with me forever. I never want them to move out. A lot of people are the opposite, where they're like, no, I like having my adult kids. It's like having your boys around. And I'd like a new pair of polo socks. That's pretty much it. I haven't asked for much. Just for
I need
Pierre
a
to
new
get
pair of
lost in the
jeans.
woods, Donald Trump to die in a terrible plane crash. And other than that, I'm good.
I just want peace on earth. You know what? I will tell you my progression with Christmas. My mother, as a hippie, ruined all holidays for me. I've told you my Halloween story where she dressed me up as Gandhi and Cat Stevens and a French painter.
That's because all she had to dress you in were bed sheets, so you had to do bed sheet costumes. So you would have been a great Jesus or a great Joseph.
She did Tootsie one year.
Oh, she just dressed you up in her clothes.
Dustin Hoffman, yeah. I wore one of her dresses, and my stepfather cut a foamy on a skill saw in the garage and made me breasts and hips. And I don't know where they got the high heels because I got a size 12. I had that at like 14. So Halloween was ruined for me. I got used cross-country skis from Santa one year. We were poor, and so Christmas was never a big deal to me. And there was always this idea that we had to go back and see my old man too, which was weird. That was weird for a couple years. We were flying out at Christmas time to go see my dad and wherever the hell he was working. So Christmas, but then I got married. My wife loves Christmas. Her side of the family, huge Christmas fans. The girls came along, and then I started to get excited about Christmas. I will say this. I despise the gift giving and exchanging and getting gifts. I don't know what it is. I can't stand it. I
know what it is. I know what it is when you grew up a poor ass, like when you grew up a little poor kid, right? Christmas is always stressful because you're like, wonder what we're going to get this year that was stolen or picked up at a garage sale. Like I get it. I totally understand it. I had a similar upbringing in different regards where you're like, you get PTSD actually having dinner at a dinner table, to be honest with you. So I totally understand it. Totally understand. Bad memories.
But my wife loves getting gifts and giving gifts. So I bought in, but I love it. Now I love Christmas because now the girls try to make their way home. So we get them and we'll play games, and I love that. If I can have my family around, and then we got news from my youngest that there might be, in the next year or so, this was the secret I was not supposed to divulge, but there may be a possibility that we're growing the family. So now I got some dudes, like the girls are bringing dudes around, but full time now, right?
What do you mean?
One got married this summer.
You might be a grandfather?
No.
Another one might be getting married.
It's a possibility. So, yes, there's at least the conversation about it. The nice thing about it is when the girls like the idea of getting the boys to ask dad for permission in the hand and all that, right? So that was a thing with the last one, but I wasn't prepared for it. So I didn't get a chance to prepare my answer.
Drunk? Were you drunk? Did he just grab you in the garage and go, "Hey, listen, I really love your daughter and I'd like to ask you if I can marry her"? Or was that how it went? And you're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Did you give him a high five and hug him?
And I really like the kid. Like, he's a really good kid.
Did you hug him?
Not a big hugger. But no, this next one, I know he's going to be asking me.
Yeah.
And I got a whole plan. I've already worked it out.
What is it?
I'm not saying.
Why not?
It's a secret. It's a secret.
Well, congratulations to your daughter. And congratulations to you. You're going to get dude, you're off the dole times 1. You might get off the dole times 2 pretty soon. Yeah. That's good news.
I am unlike you, I don't want my kids living in my house. I like it when they visit. I don't need them living here.
Are you one of those people that gets like antsy at Christmas time because there's too much going on? Because you're used to like not having kids around now?
No, when the girls are home, I love it. I love it. Like Riley and I, Bluebird, my youngest, is here already. We're going shopping. We're gonna go for lunch. I'm a fan of that.
You got a whole deal going.
Yeah, I got a whole deal.
That's awesome. You know what? I grew up very differently. And I'll leave everybody with this. When I grew up, if there were more than 6 people in our house, my dad would have to leave the room. go down into the furnace room. He's got a TV in there and a rocking chair, and he would go down there and pet the cat. So if there's too many people, so every Christmas it was like you waited till the room filled up. You looked around and you knew Jimmy was downstairs petting the cat in the furnace room, just staying
Really,
away from all the noise. Yeah, it was unbelievable. Yeah. And now that I'm 50, right? Now that I'm an old dude, there are days where there are, like we will have a drop in here tonight. Well, I don't have a cat, but I'm exactly the same. Where it's like there's so much going on, so many people here. I'm not used to all this input. I'm gonna peace out for 20 minutes. I'm gonna go upstairs, sit in my room, maybe scroll through my phone.
Well, that's why we have bathrooms.
And then I'll come back downstairs.
The other thing you got to do
spend like 20
is,
minutes in the bathroom. People are gonna think there's something wrong with you. So you got to go to your room and go. I'll be right back. I got to make a phone call. That's my go-to. Right when there's like 30 people in my house. Yeah, because there's gonna be. I got 3 boys. I got a ton of friends, girlfriends, all that stuff. We're doing a big drop in. Yeah, come on in. We're gonna have a brisket. I'm gonna make it, and as soon as everybody gets here, I'm gonna see you guys later. I'm going to go upstairs. Yeah. That's how I am. So that's the gift my dad gave me.
You can be a social guy, though.
Oh, totally. I've got no problem doing it. It's just in my own house where people are in my space, and I'm like, yeah, you guys got to get out of here.
You know what? For years, I had convinced myself that I was an extrovert. Right? Like I like you're on the radio. That you go into work every day. You talk to, hopefully hundreds of people, and they actually tune in because you guys are entertaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you must be an extrovert. I don't have a problem doing this kind of a thing. But the older I get, the more I realize like I'm an introvert. I look for opportunities to, for time for me. And you know what it was? It really hit home was during the pandemic.
Yeah. It was like the world came to me. My dad was the happiest he's ever been. He's like, "Bud, I haven't left my home in 4 months." I
felt guilty. I was like, everyone's like, "Oh, this is awful. This is crazy." I'm like, it's really awesome, isn't it? Like there's no traffic on the roads.
I know. And like post pandemic, like I really enjoyed the pandemic. I know a lot of people didn't. I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
I had no issues with it. Where
they took everyone from work, Dean, and sent them home.
Yeah.
They sent all the
you
staff.
Can't come to work. All right. So we're not doing any Christmas parties this year. You can't come to the family Christmas function this year. Remember that? Remember how awesome that excuse was? Now we don't have that excuse. Although I will say COVID is on the rise and more people have died this year than they did, the year previous. So if you want to use that as an excuse, I would highly encourage you to do it. I plan on doing it a little bit this year too, because I've been invited to several parties between now and New Year's Eve. And I'm going to take off for a couple of days and visit some family. Maybe visit my girlfriend. We're going to kind of hang out. But my point is this. You can still use COVID as an excuse. You still can. It's still a beauty.
That's good advice.
If you want to go, hey, listen, I read yesterday in the Toronto Star, COVID's on the rise. Not overly comfortable going out. So I'm going to take a pass. Or what you could do what everybody else does, where you're like, I'm sick. Don't want to give anybody COVID. So I'm not coming tonight. It is still
when is Christmas?
The greatest excuse. Monday. Christmas is usually Christmas Day. Yeah.
Okay.
When that happens.
All right. I'm looking forward to the World Juniors because that's my thing. Boxing Day.
Is that Boxing Day? Yeah.
So Tuesday will be. I think there might be a preliminary game this weekend, but I'll be tuning that in, and I think there are earlier games too. I got to check the schedule.
Well, dude,
I love getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and drinking.
Where's the World Juniors this year? It's not in Canada.
I don't even know.
You might have to get up at like 4 a.m. and have beers.
I know. I'm okay with that.
I know you are.
Hold on.
That one morning you watched the game and you finished off a 12-pack by like 6 a.m. and your wife came down and was like, did you drink all those beer? And you're like, yeah, can you quickly run out and get a few more?
No, that's not the story.
Okay.
So I bought a 12-pack of beer because I didn't have any beer. No, I'm telling it to you because you got it wrong.
Okay.
So I put it in the downstairs basement. She saw me go downstairs with a 12-pack. I had no beer. I all the beer I would drank during Christmas. So Boxing Day, it's a 4 a.m. start for the World Juniors. I get up and I'm sitting there watching hockey and the puck drops and I'm like, it's 4 a.m., but it's hockey. I should have a beer. So I crack a beer and I don't know what. Did you used to drink in the mornings, Dean?
Never.
There's something about drinking in the mornings. I love it. It is such a better high. I can't explain it. Morning beers
Because you
are
have nothing in your stomach, dude. That's why you get drunk.
so good.
Fast.
So I start pounding beer. So the game's, it's like 7:00 in the morning, 3 hours in. My wife comes down to get something out of the fridge, eggs or something. And she notices
cream for coffee because it's fucking 8:00 in the morning.
She notices that 12 pack, that 12 sack that I put in the fridge is pretty empty. She looks in it. There's one beer left. And she comes into the rumpus room and she goes, "Do you know you drank 11 beer this morning?" And I turned to her really quickly and I said, probably slurring my words, I said, "You mean there's one left? Can you go get it for me?" That's a true story. She said, "You have a fucking problem."
Did you say, yeah, clearly?
I went upstairs. I don't always drink 11 beer in 3 hours on a Tuesday morning.
On a Tuesday morning.
But I quickly went to bed and slept that off.
Well,
I don't know what got a hold of me, but
12 beers actually at 6:00 in the morning. That's what got a hold
but
of me.
I'm usually not on that pace, right? Like that was exceptional.
You impressed yourself that day. I tell you, I don't miss those. That's one of the things. I don't miss drinking, like getting drunk. Do I miss drinking? Sometimes.
We drink on the show all the time.
I know you do.
Those 9 a.m. beers. Oh, they're the best.
So delicious. Well, it's the end of your workday. It's like everybody at the end of your workday comes at 9 a.m. Of course you want a beer at the end of your workday. I get that. Yeah. But the other part of that whole story I don't miss is someone coming up to you slowly that you live with, holding a can of alcohol.
Pure disgust.
Can we talk about this?
Pure disgust in their face.
Do I look like I want to talk about it? Clearly, I know what I just did, right? Yeah, but can we talk about it? Again, the answer is no. That's why I'm down here drinking that booze, is because I don't want to talk about it at all. I don't miss that judgment piece, because with every step that your spouse gets closer to you, you start sweating just a little bit more, where you're like, she's not walking over here to give that to me and say, "Great job living. You're doing an awesome thing." Yeah. She's walking over here to go, "Why is this empty? Can we talk? Can we talk about this?" So your only solution is to get divorced, and that'll never happen again.
No, I'm good. We have the occasional conversation about my drinking, where I sit and listen and try not to make eye contact. And the less I say, the sooner the conversation's over.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear. You're right, dear. Yeah. Whereas that was my ex-girlfriend. She's like, "I think you're an alcoholic." And I'm like,
all this will be in the book. These are strategies.
You're not writing a book. She's like, "I think you're an alcoholic." And I'm like, "I think you're right." She's like, "So do you plan on doing anything about it?" And like a true alcoholic, I said this to her: "Not at the moment." Don't you think you should see somebody? Isn't this a problem? I'm like, "Not a problem for me. Is it a problem for you?" "Yep." "Well, that's a you thing." I remember saying that. "Well, then that's your problem. I'm putting this in my body.
I have a similar sort of thought process. I just don't verbal. Like,
yeah, it's a terrible thing to do. It's terrible. It didn't go well that day. That was awful.
No. Again, like
Even
I
though
said,
it's technically
these
correct.
strategies on how to deal with this will be in the book.
Even though I was technically right, where it's like, "Hey, listen, I don't come upstairs while you're working out and tell you to stop, do I?" She's like, "Well, that's different." And I'm like, "You work out a lot?"
I think my wife understands me because I have been very consistent over the years. Like I try to let people live their own lives. I do. I'm judgmental, but I swear to God, I work on it all the time. But you want to make me angry? Come to my door and try to tell me how to live my life. Nothing incenses me more, Dean. I had the first visit. We've been here a year in the new place, and I always get the
religious. You get a religie? Mormon, Jehovah's Witness. Who was it? Christian?
I never get to the point where I'm asking what the varietal is. I just sort of
what the religion is.
I never
don't know
get
that
to that.
Varietal is a word, but I think you meant religion.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, what the grape is. We're not. I never get to that conversation. So they always have their opening line.
Yeah, but what were they wearing? Was it two of them? Backpacks, black backpacks, black.
No
coat?
no backpacks. They were wearing suit jackets. They were nicely dressed, younger, which is rare because usually there's a younger person and then an older person. There was two younger people.
So you can wipe out. It wasn't Mormon. Continue. It was either JW or Christian. Yes, go ahead.
I think it may have been. I don't know. It might have been Jehovah's Witness. So I got the opening line, and I was like, okay, we're doing that. So I said to him, I will be honest with you. I think that I appreciate the fact that you guys have something to believe in, but I have very strong opinions about religion. And I'll tell you this. I believe that religion is the plague of mankind. And he went, what? Like they didn't know where to go. And I said, so this is not a house to visit. Please mark down my address as a house not to come to. And don't stop here again. And he went, okay. And then he pulls this out. This is new for me. He says, do you know anybody else in the neighborhood that would be open to having a conversation with us? And I went,
what?
He
wants you to do his religious witnessing for him.
That's never happened
looking
to me.
To adopt an entire operating /values/belief system from a door-to-door kid. Luck, can you help me with that?
I
don't buy meat from door-to-door guys. I'm certainly not adopting a life ideology from a couple of door-to-door guys. Sorry, just not doing it today.
I was like that stopped me in my tracks. Because normally I got good flow with them, right?
Oh, dude, that's where you and I are very different. I'd be like, yeah, every single house across the street wants to hear from you, every single one. And if they shut the door, knock again, because they don't know what they want. But I'm here to tell you that I
should have sent him to the guy that owns the Jeep Cherokee across from me that sits in his car, and I think he's hiding from his significant. It sits in his car and smokes and listens to death metal.
You got one of those
car
guys?
literally like
yeah. Dude, that's one of my favorite things to do in the old neighborhood I used to live in was drive around, look at guys smoking or drinking in their cars to get away from their spouses. It was fucking
I got one right across from me. And he's got the music just ear bleeding loud too. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's because he's like he wants to die. Like more than he wants to go back in the house.
I don't know. I haven't caught him smoking. He's got tinted windows.
Okay.
But of course, why wouldn't you put tinted windows on a white Jeep Cherokee? But
because
he's smoking because I can see him smoking.
Heater in there. Go back in. A lot of women that don't want to do that.
A lot of time in his car.
Well, of course, because he's married. I know how that works, dude. I used to go to the store to get milk, and it would take me 3 hours. Like,
it's because you went to the bar.
I'm going to go get milk, and you come back. Yeah, of course. You go and have a couple pints. You go for a drive before you have a couple pints. Get a little corner place at the, where you go. You could just drive home after 5 or 6. Like, such an idiot for doing it. It's like, why were you gone for so long? I had to go get milk. Yeah, but where did you get milk from? I'm like, well, they ran out everywhere, so I had to drive to Kingston. Like, what? I'm like, yeah. Like, my ex-wife still thinks a round of golf is 12 hours long. Legitimately. Be like 9 hours. She's like, you're home early. I'm like, I'm a good husband.
You're hilarious.
And then
so we're not potting next week?
No. And then we golfed once. It was like 4 hours. She's like, that was wrong fast. Here? And I'm like, we really cooked. She was like,
this is a great course. We got to come back here.
Yeah, no podcast this week. We're going to take some time off. This is the last podcast of the day. Last podcast of the week pre-Christmas. We'll be back in the new year, 3rd or 4th. I want everybody, including yourself, Locke, to have a great Christmas. Enjoy it with your family. Be mindful.
You as well.
Be present. Be easy on yourself. If you're one of those people we talk about, sometimes we joke around about addiction. Truthfully, be easy on yourself. Don't stress out over anything. You'll get help after the new year. Knock it out of the park.
And if you need any help continuing to drink, just call me.
Just call Locke. He'll help you figure it out.
Dean will help you stop. I'll help you continue.
But listen, Merry Christmas to you, your family. Enjoy your time with Deb.
Yeah. It was a good year. It was a weird year, wasn't it? It was a weird year, but I had a good year.
There's a comeback year after the pandemic. We're all trying to figure it out. Yeah.
I look forward to 2024 as well.
Me too, buddy. I look forward to you in 2024. You have a great Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Anytime. Locked and Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. He's the morning show host there. Good friend. Good guy. Good human being. Huh? That's what I want for Christmas. More good human beings in my life. You know what my New Year's resolution is? I'll tell you what it is. I don't make them, but I'll tell you what my New Year's resolution is to stop spending time with preventative people. Lachlan is not a preventative person. He's the kind of guy that wants the best for you, wants happiness for you, and he'll obviously give you his opinion on your happiness, but he doesn't mean any of it. But spend less time with people that judge you through their lens and what you do. Don't worry about anybody else and yourself. And I don't mean that in terms of action. I mean that in terms of what you think and feel. Control what you can control. The rest doesn't matter. That should be your New Year's resolution, even though I don't like telling people what to do. I would tell you that. Respond well. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. In the new year, we'll have some major announcements, including we're starting a brand new corporation, brand new company to track misinformation. Thank you to everybody that's donated to the GoFundMe for the lawsuit against Canada Proud, Pierre Poilievre's proxy organization that just sued us for speaking the truth. We're going to pivot and we're going to turn that into something. So we've got a big announcement in the new year. We've got a bunch of people coming with us. We put a lot of work and effort into this. That'll be our goal. That's what I want for you for Christmas, the truth. So we're going to try and do that a little bit more. But generally speaking, we'll be back in the new year. Thank you very much, everybody, for giving us everything that we have. Thank you for spending all the time you did. Thank you for the millions of clicks, stories read, hours tuned, videos watched, podcasts listened to in the network. Charles Adler, myself, anybody that has anything to do with Crier Media, we're really, really grateful that you brought us into your lives. And we're more than grateful to be in your life because we know that you spend time with us, and that's a diminishing property. You can give anybody money. You can't give people time. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And we'll see you in the new year. Bye.